All
Go
right, so
ahead.
you just made it click up for
Great.
me. It gave me some ideas on what to work on, how to develop this, and potentially how to build something that's marketable. So, but one of those really got me fired up, and you keep going back to that thing about not doing what you want to do, but at the same time, you kind of come in as wanting to be a filmmaker, but at the end of the day, you're really managing ad campaigns and you're doing Google ads and Facebook ads. And when you're a one-man show, well, you're going to be doing a lot of stuff you don't want to be doing or would rather not be doing or even learning. So I'm here because I'm willing to put in the time and focus on that stuff, but it's not really where, that message I sent you on Facebook about connecting you with that sales guy, that lighting company.
Oh yeah, that was you. Okay, yep.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. So
you're a connector.
I am a connector and a problem solver guy. So I love putting people together. That gets me super stoked. To me, that was like I wanted to do like a hashtag, like weekly deal or whatever, just because I was like, that was something that I was super excited about, but I get nothing out of it in terms of like a business sense, but it's just super cool to me to do that and to.
I'm not here to help anyone learn to do things that is how you started. I'd rather not do this because what I believe fundamentally is some people do come in and they do genuinely, they might want to be a filmmaker, but they're genuinely excited about this stuff. They might not be good at it right now, but they can get better at it only from the place of the excitement and enthusiasm that they started with. Now you have vision of what, like the result you'd like it all to give you. You're excited about that, but the pathway that which you do need to accomplish that, you're not. So therefore, your amount of effort and energy and enthusiasm and excitement to do what's necessary to get the result via the way they're spelling out to you, you're probably just going to be spinning your wheels. And you're not going to make a ton of progress. It doesn't mean you won't make any, but you probably won't make a ton versus we channel some of the learnings that are right for you into areas that are right for you.
Some of this stuff, it's like, man, I know the video stuff. I understand lighting, composition, editing, all this stuff. I've got all that down. I can show up on any set and make it better, whether it's my set or somebody else's set. So I have a tremendous amount to bring to the table in terms of all of that, in terms of productions and things like this. Should have been this way. It would have been cheaper.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a story about a guy named Ronnie. He came into Michael Gebbins' world. 10 years he dabbled in video, always had a job. The job had nothing to do with video. He helped his dad. Dad said, stop this video. This is stupid. Can't make money being creative. So, he had a security company and for 10 years he dabbled. Ronnie worked somewhere else and he lost his job. They gave him a severance. He went all in on 2014. He made $1,000 and he was $12,000 in debt and he was pretty much about to give up. And he never made much money in video. He's trying to do weddings. He's trying to do commercials, music videos. He's got tape transfers, film transfers, do it all. That's how I started. His website's not that good. His work's not that good. And we talk, and my question was, what would you do if you didn't need money? And he said, poker runs. They're these boat races. He goes, in fact, I do one for free every year for the last 4 years, but I don't get paid. The shift was him going from, well, there's no money in poker runs. Like I can't make money in poker runs. And I already tried to reach out to people, but simultaneously, much like this call, his mindset came from when he was a used car salesman, literally not thinking he is like being like one, but he was one. He's taught to sell whatever he's got on the lot, not what people want. So let's manipulate is in the mindset of, let me manipulate somebody. So when he's selling, he felt very slimy, sleazy, blah, 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 blah. Then he became very self-aware that he also really never had the deep, deep passion to learn how to shoot and edit better. He just wasn't good at it. So to channel some confidence like we're talking about on this call, to sell something that you inherently don't believe in and don't think is very good is difficult. So he realized, and this is where you come in, he realized he was an excellent connector. He was great at vision. He was great at putting people together. He was great at doing deals. And so now he started to put excellent shooters and editors and people into place, which then he was able to channel now a confidence in them because they were excellent and charge 20 grand for a job he wouldn't have charged 2 grand for on his own, and then spend 10 or 12 grand to get the job done. And so he ended up, through connecting, making a deal with a cruise line, doing work for them. The cruise line bought his self-branded company for $500,000 this was about 4 years into me, talking to him and doing his thing. Every time I talk to him, this guy has done something that I'm like, you never cease to amaze me, my friend. But he's just fallen into owning what he's excellent at, what he really wants to do. And he said when he came into me, everything was pessimistic and kind of negative. And, when you take action from a place of, God, I really wish I didn't have to do this, you don't take a whole lot of action, right? Because you wish there was some other way. Sure. And so for him, if he didn't want weddings, the reason he wasn't succeeding with them, because he really wished he didn't want to have them. Like Christian said earlier, right? He's not getting the $500 job because energetically he doesn't really want it, but he's trying to figure out how to get it. I don't know if you were on during that, but
yep.
So for you right now, what I'm hearing, and some people, are hybrids, but what you've said thus far, there's a leaning towards I'll ask you this. If you had a choice, do you prefer people over computers or computers over people?
Oh man,
if I took away all editing, all technology, but you had to for a whole year, you had to do nothing but really just connect, talk to people, make those little introductions, make things happen.
I'm happy with that. That's fine. Okay. I come from an engineering background, so I'm extremely comfortable with both. That's why it's a weird mesh.
That's good. So you would be more of the hybrid, but the thing is, it sounds like you're leaning towards people, because you're not as enthusiastic about learning the ads. Is that what you're saying to me, though? You're not as...
But what I want to say is, I think what I see myself as is a position that doesn't usually exist on sets or with agencies, where almost like a technical consultant where...
Great. That's great,
when I'm on those calls with the client and the agencies, I'm connecting dots and pointing stuff out that they're missing in terms of how they communicate creative and in terms of how they plan on doing the execution.
Love it.
So I am super connected with the photographer, videographer, director, as well as the client and the agency, and trying to get all these things so that it goes as smoothly as possible.
So the beautiful thing about you is that you come from two different worlds and I've had to learn to have an empathy and understanding around people who aren't all people. Like, I'm a people person. I don't really care about the technology. I've learned it. I should say I didn't have to, but I did through the years. And I've also learned a lot about human behavior and people, and that everybody's wired a little different. There's all people, there's all to the other end. And then there's kind of you, where you sit as a hybrid in the middle, where you can oscillate between both. But it sounds like you're not as interested, though, in actually doing the nitty-gritty of it, but you intellectually really understand it well and like to connect the dots and the people and how it can be done, and you're missing this point, so you're able to see things that others cannot see, and you're able to connect people that others couldn't connect, right, in opportunities. Right. So now my suggestion to you, because you mentioned a phrasing, this doesn't really exist. And so because it doesn't exist, there's a hardness of wrapping your head around, how would I develop a career?
How do I commercialize it?
Right.
Yes, exactly. Because that position on set doesn't really exist.
But it can. It could. You could be the first one.
It could.
Right? That's the thing. That's what I like people to do. But we don't get in. Creatives are so dreamers, but then we forget to really imagine that you could create a position and a role and start to sell. Right now, you don't know the exact details, which is okay. But just know that what you really know that you love to do and are excellent at and just tickles you to death, that you could do just that. Like, you can do just that. And so the need to run a business a certain way, the way you're leaning people towards, again, it's a way, it's not the way. So how do you take the fundamentals and the principles that you're resonating with and apply it into something that you would get really, really excited about, versus like, well, I'm really just going to be managing a bunch of ads and ad campaigns, and maybe that's a little dumbed down version of what you're kind of feeling like. You're like, I want to be creative. I want to bring things to life. I want to bring projects and videos to life that are, exhilarating, exciting, creative. How can we design this business model using some of the principles that you see a lot of value in, but designing a business where it keeps Javier in a role that has you going, man, I'm ready. I don't care. I can get anything out of it. Hashtag winning, hashtag awesome, hashtag, that's the role. That's where you get true momentum and, and having things, making things happen. And what I would say, sometimes we've got to let go of the details and the specifics of how something that's our vision will happen. Doesn't mean we don't work towards it, or we're just, kumbaya in our basement about it. Like, oh God, it's going to happen. It's like, no, but let go of the details, because the details are what hinder us and have us go, well, I don't know how that could happen, or that's not a person on set. So you start to break it down, and then you like have disbelief in it. So you have to still lean into these areas that clarity around running commercial campaigns and doing them a certain way. The problem is that doesn't align with everybody. That's why I'm here on these calls, because all the people who it doesn't align with don't win. They don't get success because they're stuck thinking this is the way. They don't take much action and they don't get much results. And then there's people who are perfectly aligned and they're doing 3 weeks that others can't do in 2.5 years. And so for you, it's own what you really know that you're great at. And now we've got to figure out, how do you build that into a commercial thing? If you don't have examples of it right now, that's okay. That's where I, can continue to kind of collaborate, because for me, I didn't think it exists. Like, I thought that to do what I did for a decade, people told me I needed group coaching programs, I needed membership sites, I needed PDFs, I needed to break it down into a formula. And in the last couple of years, I finally shifted and said, there's got to be people out there who exist, who are doing what I want to do the way I want to do it in a simple way. And they started to pop up. And I started finding people getting paid a premium to literally just do this. And so it's like Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile. Nobody ever did it in all of time. He does it. Now it's normal, right? So you can be a Roger Bannister. I would assert that there's more than likely, you may be looking at it through a lens that feels like it doesn't exist at all. I would imagine that it does, but not to the exact degree that you're currently looking at it for yourself.
What I'm paid to do is this, and I'm bringing this much value to set. And that's where I'm seeing, like, I'm doing something that other people aren't doing. It's a position that I've never seen on set.
Sure.
And so it doesn't have a name. And
but that's where, so for me, I mean, I looked it up, there's a lot of things that have there's already a lot of people using something. Coach is like, there's an endless amount of people, and there's a lot of baggage in people's minds. I mean, even Christian, I'll be still on here. I never forget the first call he got on. He was like, well, I'm always a little weird about these mindset coach people and what that is. And he had this kind of baggage around it, and I never really resonated fully with coach and consultant, and I also knew a lot of the baggage that went with it. And so I had come up with Jumpstarters was my name for a long time, but then I was really going, I'm not a brand anymore of Jumpstarters. I'm like the Jumpstarter. And this one guy kind of called me that, but something was off, because I'm like, I'm not just talking once and then that's it. Sometimes I do that. But there was a lot of times now where I'm doing a lot more with people, and I've built more skill sets. So I found this one guy who was called the Mind Architect. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm not going to be the Mind Architect. So I was thinking about all my stuff around jump starting, and I talk about alignment. I started having these things around cars, and I was thinking of Mind Technician. And it was on a Wednesday, June 17th, that I was with my wife. We're about to get lunch, and we're sitting in the curbside pickup area. I said, honey, I was thinking about car. This guy's the Mind Architect. I've come up with some of the car. Before I tell you what it is, what do you think it is? So I was about to tell her Mind Technician, and she goes, Mind Mechanic. And I started hitting the steering wheel, and I'm like, oh, I could see everything now. Like, my conviction that I could talk to somebody is so much more powerful. I made this like moniker that's like, I can really get behind, really changed my internal game over the last few weeks. So it's like, what could be a moniker that you could play with that doesn't need to exist? That's something like that, that you could do within film. That's the film mechanic, the film architect,
branding,
like the internal thing for you too, to really own into that. You can be like, that's you. Versus this kind of wishy-washiness a little bit around this thing that's, because the more vague you are, that's what I found for me in video and now in coaching, is the more vague and confused and like, I don't know, and kind of this and that, and it's very hard to sell. That's the commercialization part. It's not that it is or isn't in existence. It's that if you can't wrap it into something with some conviction behind it versus this wishy-washiness of like, if you're talking to somebody, and I'm not that you do it to the extreme you're doing it with me right now, but energetically, if that's how you feel when you're talking to me, then even if you're a little bit more clear, but energetically, you're still like, I'm in this weird, I don't know, and there's this whole kind of vibe around confusion, then it's hard to sell, because people don't want something that's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this guy. He does a little bit of everything. Go ahead. So you just made it click up for me. What I need to do is I need to write my job description. Love it. Love that.
I just need to write down in black and white my job description.
Somebody had me do that actually last year. I wrote it down, and I really started to get clear.
Come up with a title for it. Yep. Whatever it is. And,
Yep.
yeah.
And
Okay.
then own that, man. Because just imagine that what you want to do. Now there's multiple ways for you, this role that you know that you really love and lights you up and you get excited about is possible to do and get paid well to do it. Now it's just, there's different ways to go about it. What way is going to resonate with you the most that you can get behind? So, the thing is, let go of those exact details, write down that description, potentially come up with a moniker and own that's who you are. And that you can do this and get paid well for it. And then how it's going to fall into the place of the getting paid well for it. If you really own that and are committed to it, I promise you the people, the things will all start to just click and fall into place to where a year from now, you're like owning whatever this, moniker and the thing that you do that lights you up, that you like when you made that connection. Because that's what I want people to live from. And so because you think different, you're not normal, but you don't need to be normal. You don't need to be like anybody else. You don't need to fit in because guess what? You're rare. So rare makes you more valuable. If you're like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry on set that knows how to do the same as everybody else, they're not worth very much. But Javier, having a little bit of this understanding of people and skills and connecting and the technical and how all those dots connect and how you can shift this here and make that result, that, my friend, is valuable. That's how people charge a premium for something because there's not many people that do that. And if you own that, that's when you'll get paid well to do that. But if you think it's about being normal, doing things that you just trudge through or anything else, then you'll never really get paid as well because those things you'll never do excellent because you're not really enthusiastic about it. So I'll stop there, take a breath. Your brain needs to process this. So you feel good? Where are you feeling, man?
I feel great. I'm glad we had this back and forth. It made a lot of things click. It gave me some ideas on what to work on, how to develop this, and potentially how to build something that's marketable. So
give yourself some credit for all that you've done and all that you've accomplished, and really look at that too, because I know we can look at what we don't have and what isn't there yet and what we haven't gotten. It's powerful, man. So I'm excited to dig in with you here in the future. So
thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Popping on, man.